everybody know, welcome to everybody that's in the webinar right now. Down on the bottom of the screen, there's a little icon there for a chat window. You can open that up, and throughout the hour, what we've done is we've muted your microphones. And if you've got questions, just type it in to the side there. And I've got somebody here that's manning the laptop and the camera. We'll see the chat windows. In fact, right now, if you want to send Hunter some hate mail from Santa Cruz, because he's been getting 3-foot overhead on a big old log, if I could get to my laptop right now, I'd probably send him some devil emojis or some poo emojis right now, but that's all right. All right, so where are you now, Hunter?
Well, I moved into, we call this the roller room, like the boxes full of Indo Board rollers, but I've used it as a gym in the past, so I kind of brought it back together, set up a little backdrop here, have my equipment down on the ground so we can go through. So I've got pretty much the same items that you do. We can go back and forth. And the thing is, it's hot here. We're in the low 90s today. And the sunshine is beating down and offshore wind, but the waves went flat. Yesterday it was about waist to chest high. Today it's stone cold flat. So this.
Don't try and make nice with me. That's okay. Fine. I'm dry land for at least a week, and it's been a week before that I put a moratorium on myself. So yeah. All work and no salt water makes me really craggy. So let's hope I can get through this without throwing an F-bomb or two at you. Now, we've got people.
Language might have an F-bomb or few.
We've got people chiming in. We got people from all over the world. So you've got some fans from Italy saying hello, master. And so there you go. Now, I understand. Before we get into things, let's get to the nitty gritty here. Your sales, from what I understand, with COVID and home quarantine must be phenomenal because people are looking to keep on moving, and so you must be having a blessing in disguise here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a lucky guy. Fortunately, our catchphrase, I came up with the name Endo one day driving my van. And I just kind of went into my head, when you can't go outdo, you got to go Indo. And that has come to fruition here during this COVID-19 stuff. And so we're pushing that out there. You can't go outdo, you got to go Indo. Use your indoor board. The Indo board is there for you in this time when, what else is there to do at home? Watch movies, but don't sit down. Stand on your Indo board and have it, make it entertaining, make it exercise.
And I really, for the longest time, I thought, of course, it had to do with Indonesia and the great surf over there. But you've set me right. It was lost on me before, but a couple of years ago, you told me that, and my jaw dropped. Of course, indoor. So I'll just put a little side story here, and then I think we'll jump right into things. You and I met because of Pat O'Neill. I was training him way back in the late 90s, and you had come through and all that. And I had asked him, hey, has anybody come up with like a conditioning guide or anything for surfers? He said, not until you write it. And let me get you in touch with this guy that has this cool device. So I wrote Fit to Surf. It's been 20 years, believe it or not, still out there, still selling. There's a whole bunch of things that I would like to add to it. Who knows, maybe a second edition's not that far off in the future, but for anybody that wants some little tricks of the trade with the Indo board, of course you could do that, but you've got a DVD. We did a little thing there several years back with exercise you can do, but hopefully we're going to step it up a little bit in the next hour. So do you want to take over and tell me what you got? How do we start? Let's look at the cushions and the roller.
Check this out. I'm getting really official here. I got myself a ballet bar because we were getting ready to do a trade show over in Orlando in May, which has since been canceled. But this is for beginners because we always say, hold on to something or have someone spot you. So this became a convenient idea, and my back is going to be to you just a little bit. But when I mean hold on to something, it's something that you don't want to bend over and put your weight on anything. This is here just to steady you. If you need it, it's there. But the main thing is to try and balance And this is on the roller, and we'll come full circle around. I'm going to take you back to the basics, which is our Indo Flow cushion. But I just wanted to show everybody, everybody's familiar with the Indo board as a deck and a roller combination. And particularly older people are kind of scared. They know this is dangerous. And some people don't know it's dangerous and fall and bust their ass and cry because they didn't, well, I didn't know it was that hard. Well, it can be, I make it look really easy, but it can be very difficult. But
yeah, I'm really glad you put the disclaimer on the board. Warning, use at your own risk. That must keep your insurance premiums really low.
Well, they were until I got sued by a couple idiots. And one was a lawyer in San Francisco that came into a gym and walked up onto the deck and roller, and within 0.02 seconds, he broke his femur. And because he was a lawyer, he went after me because they knew you can settle with the insurance company. And we would have won. There's no way in the court because of the warning. That says it all. I make that warning bigger than life.
Yes.
You can't miss it.
You should put dumb ass in front of that.
So here's our Indo Flow cushion. Here's our deck. That's what I was standing on at the desk. And for those that don't know it, our cushion has a pin. We can change the amount of air real quick. And I like to use the cushion half full. Now you can blow it up and make it super full, which makes the action very tippy, but this is more subtle.
Right then and there, I could tell you're an optimist by saying half full.
Yeah. There we go. So we're just going to place the deck centered. You see how the deck is lying nice and flat? And all we're going to do is stand on it shoulder width apart, place my feet. So I want the same area from the toe to the toe edge as the heel to the heel edge. So imagine there's a stringer or a center line in the deck. Put one foot, you're not going anywhere. Second foot. And now the game here is not to let the deck touch the ground. And as easy as that sounds, in reality, it's not, because it's constantly moving, 360 degrees of instability, and you could be Jack LaLanne and you still can't stop this from moving. It will always move. So the subtlety of this is like surfing, because when we're standing on a surfboard, the surface of the ocean, we're getting movement 360 degrees. So this is great to start. And so all we're doing is just getting used to balancing here, not letting the deck touch the ground. Now, if we want to work a little harder, we just a little bit lower. Now, take a look at what I'm doing, because the real key issue in balance is posture. And so any deviation from proper posture makes what you're doing much more difficult. When your body is centered, then you're doing one action. If your body's out of center, if I come out here, suddenly it's harder because I'm out of center. Now, I'm not falling because my brain is compensating and making it work. But if I come back to center, it all comes together. So when I want to lower and get more exercise, I want to keep that center. So I'm not bending over and coming forward. I'm really rotating at the hips and coming down. And now the legs start to work.
Now, I'm glad to bring that up, because it's quite the opposite that people would typically think of when squatting downward. What you're doing there is you're actually tucking your tailbone downward rather than sticking your hips back behind you, aren't you?
More or less. I feel like I'm hinged at the hips. And as I go down, I'm not like this.
Yeah.
I'm coming, but I'm keeping control of my body through a good upright posture, where most people will come into this. And you know why? This is easier than this, because this is the core is tight. Everything is working to maintain proper posture.
And I got to tell you, every time you lean forward, you aged 10 years. As soon as you came up, man, you got so much more handsome and younger.
Oh, rock.
Now, here's one thing that I want to bring up for everybody listening. You know, we're talking about surfing, of course, Hunter in Florida, me in Santa Cruz, but I love this for snowboarding. It's great for wakeboarding, for skate. I mean, any board sport has been fantastic, but you've got a lot of other athletes that are using the Indo board that aren't board related, aren't they?
No, we have world champions in virtually every sport. You know, just quickly, and I don't know if they're online joining us, but I have some trainers in Leesburg, Florida that are working with the 6'11" Pat Burke, who was an NBA center for Arizona and the Orlando Magic, and he loves it. He says he wishes he had this when he was playing ball on the professional level. Now he plays, you know, just playing around. He's got a league. He still plays, but he's just over the top. That's basketball. Cabrina was one of the greatest names in jiu-jitsu. I think it's 10 or 11-time world champion. Cabrina started posting videos online using an Indo board. Joel Tudor came to me and said, "Hey, how much are you paying Cabrina?" And I said, "Who the hell is that?" And so, man, that's unbelievable. You got the greatest guy in jiu-jitsu around the world posting videos. So, you know, now we got Joel. He used it to rehab his knee operation. So, you know, jiu-jitsu, we've got several world champions in different weight classes in jiu-jitsu. I've got a picture of Annika Sorenstam in the back of her autobiography, one of women's greatest golfers, standing on an Indo board. So it's across all sports because balance is important in everything we do. Just walking down the street, balance is important, but you put athletics into it. And you know, the funniest thing I say is swimming, kind of difficult to think about what balance does in swimming, but I worked with Aaron Pearsall, and he held the world record in the 100, 200 meter backstroke. And his agent got a hold of me trying to see if I wanted to pay him because he had an Indo board and he used it. And I said, "Well, I don't pay athletes. I just don't have that kind of money. But if you let me talk to Aaron, I'll give him some exercises and we'll see what happens." So 2 months before Athens, I got on the phone with Aaron Pearsall, gave him a workout. On the way to Greece, to Athens, he called me from JFK Airport to tell me he realized a increase in his leg strength in his turns, and he was getting faster in and out of his turns. And he went on and set 2 new world records.
That's fantastic.
You know, it's a strength trainer, strength and conditioning, as well as balance. So the main thing is it's fun. Whatever we're doing, when I get into this position, it's challenging, and my mind is going, "Wow, look, we can do this. Don't touch the ground. Don't touch the ground." So now if I want to play, and I've got you opposite me, we can throw a medicine ball. We can do all kinds of things. I can take over here, I've got a stretch band.
Oh, yeah. Now, hey, while you're setting up, I'm going to say to our listening audience, we've got about 50 or 60 people in this webinar right now, and more are joining every minute. Here's what I'd like you to do. If you're comfortable enough and you are familiar with the Indo board, you've got one at home, you've been doing it, my challenge is to you is see if you can maintain your balance on the board while we are on the board as well. And of course, if you need to take a break or get some safety items around you, go ahead. But go ahead, Hunter.
All right. So here we got, this is a medium firm stretch band. I've got it right close. So to get some work here in balance and keep the board balanced is a real trick. Now I can use a lighter band, but I really like this challenge because I'm getting all of this, and you'll notice my posture and everything stays the same. I really want to
your head is not moving. That's nice.
Front. All right, so then we can change it up and come up here and come down here. All of this, we haven't done anything. We've just changed arms, and we're still getting great balance work, and we're getting some strength training.
And you're standing on the board that has the Endo flow cushion on it, correct?
Yes, I'm on the Endo flow cushion. Now I can do this for me, it would be easier on the roller, even though it's moving more. Let me switch over.
Because you were in Cirque du Soleil for all those years. Now, there is an exercise that we'll often do in our fitness studio named after this fellow Palloff, and it's called the Palloff press, where you take that band and instead of pulling sideways, you're just going to reach out. And what you're trying to do is create anti-rotation. So whereas you were creating rotation by pulling across, we can also do the same thing and try to maintain a stable environment while the band's pulling on us. All right. Did you just throw on a headband?
Oh man, I'm dripping here.
Oh my gosh, we're back to the 80s. I love this. I'm gonna go get some leg warmers. You go.
In Santa Cruz, where there's no humidity, we've got humidity. So this wants to pull me off center. So I'm getting a better workout on the cushion. But again, this is so core intensive
Facebook.
and moving.
That's good.
So we can change it up again.
Nice. The beautiful thing is that I just see your center maintaining its location, and everywhere else may be moving, kind of like spokes in a wheel, but the hub stays in one place, which is really quite cool.
Which is what happens when I'm just riding the Indo board. So here I am walking around, but this is not moving. The movement is all from here down. So it's controlling the extremities through the core.
Awesome.
Right? So here, now I got a little movement. What do we all like to do surfing wise? I think maybe a lot of our viewers are surfers. One thing we want to do is get in the tube. And what a great repetitious exercise, tube squats I call them. But let's look at form and how to do it correctly. And I've done this for years.
Love it.
Even with the young guys, the old guys, most people will go into that tube squat, and the first thing they do, they get to a point and their butt stays up high, and then they come down like this. All right? So
Yeah, we
tell
call
me
it
what's
stink
better.
bug.
What looks better? This or,
Oh, that's style. That's David Nueva right there.
all right? So what's happening, again, I'm keeping the upper body up and active. My core is tight. If I come over here and try to get down, first, my butt has to stop. Secondly, I've got no core engagement, so I can't turn, I can't do anything.
No,
But-
it's go ass over tea kettle.
Right. With correct posture, now I get into that position and I can turn, I can rise and fall. I'm in control because my core is engaged, I'm centered, and my body is working correctly.
How about this, Hunter? Why don't we take like figuratively a step back and how do you enter onto the board? What side do you do? Do you switch sides at times or do you do the same approach every time?
Well, for me, I like to start like this, which is different than most people. So I'll step up onto it like that, or start by hanging 10. See, the board's touching the ground, I hang 10, engage, and come around. So
I got
that's one factor is that when you're playing and just riding, the work is constant, especially when you're working on that proper posture. All right, so here's another thing. I'm a goofy foot. Watch this.
That's why we get along so well.
I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna look the other direction. Now I'm regular foot. I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm using the muscles that I don't normally use. So I'm balancing out the exercise.
Very much so.
Do a series on that, switch, and now I'm exercising my weak side.
So how I typically approach it is to start here and then shift over and then my body on top of the roller. What do you think of that?
That's the basic approach. That's the way most people should start. It's easier that way, and I'll show you kind of how to mechanically make that happen.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift my weight over to the front foot, which is over the roller. And you want to think about the gas and the brake. The front foot going this way is the gas, because I'm pushing to make the board move. And your screen went blank for me right here. I don't know what happened. But the other foot, the down foot, is the brake. And the brake is more important than the gas. You see how slow I did that?
Aha.
All right, so the brake is controlling that speed. So I'm going to come down to this side. Now I'm gassing with this, but the brake is thoroughly engaged. Look how slow I go.
Nice.
So most people will push on the gas, and then that foot comes up and the board just takes off. So it's all about the gas and the brake.
Gotcha.
Ask him if
Let me take over.
ask him if he can see us.
All right.
How's my view here? Am I too far from the screen, or can you see me all right?
Well, I can see I can't, the bar at the bottom is covering up the board. I can't see.
I gotcha. Now, the board that I have here, dismount there. Hey, the board that I have is one of your rocker boards. It
Amen.
doesn't have the stopper at the end. So, because I like to defy death is basically what I'm talking about here. And I love this one. I love the ones with the stoppers, and I use those with my clients just to get them used to it. But then I like this one because it's more curved, and I can start working on spins. So maybe we can kind of talk a little bit about even the board that you're using now. If you were wanting to do a little pivoting on that board, what is the best way? Because I see a lot of people struggling with it, and I know, but I'd like you to share.
All right. Well, the key for me is to take the deck off center and kind of get it back onto the back edge of the roller. So I'm going to come and unweight. And if you can see the roller, we have 3 strips of grip tape on the roller. So I've moved the deck just this side of one of the strips of grip. And now I'm going to kind of engage my heels a little bit, and all of a sudden it's loose as a goose.
Yeah.
Because I have a pivot point now on the corner of the roller. And so the progression before just jumping into a spin is to learn to oscillate. And now look, I'm back to this again, right?
Nice.
So I'm keeping everything centered, and when I'm ready, then I'm just gonna.
Oh, all right. Let's give you another try at that one. You were gonna do a full-on 180, weren't you?
Yeah, it'll come.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah. So it's not so much that I really want to be looking down the whole time. I really want to get into here, and when I do it. "90 degrees, 180.
Woo! And this is with a prosthetic hip, nonetheless.
2.
2.
Yeah.
Here you are, the bionic man. That's amazing.
All right, here's my grand finale. Hold on.
Whoa! Dude, that's awesome.
So, and the way that works is having good posture through the whole movement. So whatever you do, whenever you're on the Endo board, whether you're riding for fun or you're exercising, posture, then we'll throw an extra one in, breathing. My breath is up. I want to get some good diaphragmatic breathing going, oxygenate, bring myself back, and I'm good. But good breathing posture, and balance. The three go together.
Now, I notice it's always easy when we're standing out at the cliff, the point, and you're just kind of checking out the lineup, what the surf is like. You can instantly spot a beginning surfer from one that is advanced and has been doing it for years. And the way I look at it is the beginner is working super hard. They've got their bodies all stiff. Their arms are out everywhere. And then you see somebody coming down the line just making it look super easy. So I think that carries over here too. You don't want those arms flailing out, and your arms are nice and relaxed by your side.
Yeah, and I came across this. I was in Sweden this summer and doing some demonstrations there, and the Swedish longboard champion came to the event and heard that I was going to be there, and he asked me would I have any tips for him on his surfing. And I said, well, show me a video. And he showed me a video, and the first thing I noticed is that everything he was doing, his arms were in play. And I said to him, you have to take the arms out of it. If anything, surf like Joel. Because if you look at a video of Joel Tudor,
so relaxed.
Here, if his arm comes up, it comes back down pretty quickly, because that's a muscle memory thing. Anytime that you're surfing and your arms are going up, that means that you're going up too. Your body will follow your arms. So if you find an arm coming up, bring the arm down and bend your knees. Whether surfing or riding the Indo board, it's all the same deal. We're not flying here, we are balancing, and we're using, balance comes from posture and centering, and arms out is not centered. So it's a great telltale sign. And then, I see in surf schools they want you to balance like this, and I'm sorry, but that's really not the way to do it. In the surf school, you should be right in here.
All right, so let's say that we have grown accustomed to standing on the board. I see a kettlebell and a couple dumbbells behind you now.
Yes, sir.
So once we prove proficient with our ability to balance and control ourselves and the board, now we can add some resistance training other than the bands, of course, which I love using the bands, but let's explore some dumbbells now.
All right, well, I'm switching here to my Endo Pro model. This is the big one, 42 inches, and our large cushion. It's the exact same idea. We just have a larger deck. It's longer, so we need a bigger cushion. So I'm just going to step up, and I'm going to be just slightly wider than shoulder width here with my dumbbells. And so one of my workouts is to do a series of curls. So whatever you're comfortable, whatever number, I do a very high number of reps, because when you're paddling, I like to go to Mexico and surf point breaks. I want to have endurance. So they're light weights. These are 15 pounds. They're not difficult. And just maintain form, not rushing anything. And if you look at my feet, everything is moving from my waist down. From the waist up, the only thing is moving is my arms using the dumbbell.
So how I look at this is what you're doing is shifting mass forward and backwards. So that's one dimension of space. We can also take our mass and shift it side to side, as well as rotate. So when it comes to the exercises for me, I love what you just did. I'm also going to have a little bit of side shift, and I can just take one arm up in the old style, like lateral raise, and then I can also do a cross punch. So now I'm taking my mass in all three dimensions. So I like what you're doing there.
All of the above. And the kettlebell comes in here really well, because we can take the kettlebell and get into our goblet squats.
Yeah.
All right, so great for goblet squats. And then we can take it into wood chops.
Yeah. I like that. Now, just like you were saying with the surfers, when their arms come up, their body comes up, which is going to make it more challenging to balance on a pivotal point far down below. So we can actually use that to our advantage, at least I do with the studio here, is that I might take their mass and raise it up, getting their arms to go in various directions just to create a greater degree of intensity when they're exercising. So if we find that that's too much, then we just bring the arms down below shoulder level, and the lower they get, the closer it is to the balance point, so the more manageable it is. What else do you have?
Well, I like to do side raises, front raise, and then rotations as you were changing and coming across. Any sort of rotation is what surfing is all about. So if you'll notice, head and shoulders are to the front, and I'm rotating around the core and the hips a little bit. Keep the hips straight, but actually I'm engaging. Whew.
All right. So all of this time, we've been standing with a parallel stance. What about if we were to turn into like a goofy foot or a regular stance? Of course, we now have changed our axis or our base of support to be narrower, although longer. This is going to be a little bit more demanding, wouldn't you say?
Sure. So on the cushion again, and the way I do it on the cushion is I've got a center line on this deck, which makes it easy to see. But I'm going to put one foot on one side of the stringer and another foot in this side. This is really good in stand-up paddle surfing. If you're a stand-up paddler and you're riding waves, to me, the only way to catch a wave on a stand-up paddleboard is in a split stance, not in a parallel. So this is a great exercise. You can take a dumbbell and get low. And again, this all stays centered and drops down. So I'm using this weight because it's throwing me this way, but I want to balance and stay in the center, which would be kind of like stand-up paddling, is you're moving on this side, but you still want to be centered. And the beauty of this is we can switch and face the other direction. And now we're switch stance, and we're using our weak side.
Gotcha. Now, one thing that we haven't touched upon too, in regards to balance, all this time we have been keeping our head level. And now we've got the vestibular system in the inner ear that sends signals to the brain to tell us where we are in space, what direction the head is, what position, what is up and what is down, which way am I going. So what I tend to do is if somebody gets proficient with the balance, I might have them just tilt their head off to one side or tilt it to the other, go forward, backwards, or rotate it while they're trying to balance. And it's a wonderful drill to enhance their vestibular system. You'd be amazed how demanding it is. So for those of you that are just following along with us, you're on your Indo board, preferably with the cushion. If you're feeling good with the roller, you might want to just try that, having yourself just relax in that balance position, then quickly tilt your head to one side and hold it. And then slowly bring it back up. And you can tilt it to the opposite side and then slowly bring it back up. And what you're most likely going to find is there's one side that is a little bit more challenged than the opposite. And so we might want to slowly start to feed better signals into the more challenged side. And it could be tilting left or tilting right, tilting forward or tilting back, or tilting forward into the left or back to the left, down to the right or back to the right. There's a whole bunch of plays with the head that you can kind of move around with. So Hunter, what do you have there now?
This is a great tool I picked up at a trade show. It's called a grip bell. And what it offers is lots of different grips.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of versatility in one weight. Okay, so here's a really good one. Let's ride out here.
Oh, so now that's great. So the hand is pretty much staying still. The whole body's moving underneath it, except again, your center is pretty much right over.
So you can
So this is your form of procrastination, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you should be getting some business work done, you're like, oh, no, time to play.
That's it. So I just changed the whole exercise from coming down with one hand to two hands. Depends on what level you want to take it to. So this is, I'll switch hands. This will be my weak side. I'm going to come all the way down. Look at my posture. I maintain perfect posture. And just mix it up. I'm going to ride a little bit, end to end. And I got this weight hung out here. What's going on? All right, I'm going to put it in front of me.
That's great. I love the fact that once we establish the concepts behind movement and balance, then we can create any exercise imaginable. Do I want my head to stay still, or do I want it moving? Do I want to be holding on to something, or do I want to be having my arms move? Does my body want to go up and down, or which way does it want to go? And then we can implement these tools like the grip bell that you had, and we can even put in the resistance band and start pulling on the resistance band while holding on to another level of resistance like a dumbbell or the grip bell. And now we're starting to feed even more stimuli to the brain to enable us to get a greater degree of intensity with our balance training as well as our strength training. I love it.
Yeah, the combinations or the number of exercises that you can do on an Indo board is literally as wild as your imagination.
You know, where we haven't gone yet are into some plank-like actions where your hands or your feet are on the board while the rest of your body is supporting on the floor. I'm going to work you. That's really what it's coming down to.
And I like to tell people it's the most interesting plank you will ever do.
Heck yeah.
Because the mental engagement of an unstable plank is far greater than the boredom of a plank on solid ground. Whether you're doing a push-up extended plank or you're doing a forearm plank, when you've got an unstable surface there, your brain is going, I can do this, I can do this. And you're working harder and you're getting more out of the exercise, and mentally you're really involved in it to a good point. Not boredom, not going, oh shit, I want out of here. You're just going, I can do this, I can do it. And it's, the beauty of it is, I didn't know that was going to happen when I came up with it. It's just the case. Instability gets the brain moving and working. So let's look up. I'll start out a plank. So the options here, you can be wide and just ride the Indo board like you were standing on. Narrow up a little bit, it's a little harder, put your feet together, roll it back and forth. Now, up on one foot, now you've got a real serious challenge.
Yeah, you're just crazy now.
Yeah. Now I can come into a half push-up. Just hold that. Pure core. And change the leg position. Now I'll switch feet so you can see. So I like to do foot up, 45 degrees. Hold it for however long you want, out to the side. Hold that, draw the knee up under the chest. And I'm still in the plank. Now I'm going to pee on a fire hydrant like a dog. Kick out, come back, still in a plank, finish with a push-up, and change over to the other side. So
Fantastic.
all of those in combination, or any one of those broken down to one plank position. Whee!
Yeah, so really we're just talking about adding elements into a movement, or a static or a dynamic movement. Do you want to be face down? Do you want to be standing? So in this case, putting your hands on the board itself, using the roller. We can also start off on the cushion. We can even add the cushion under the feet perhaps to give the feet a little unstable area while the roller is underneath the board itself. So as we add more elements, we increase the intensity more and more. Take those elements away to get to their base level, and then you can play around with it. One that I enjoy is actually trying not to keep the board level, but can I maintain a plank position and perturb the board back and forth? And that's one heck of a workout too, whether you're in the up position or you're down low like Hunter was holding before. All those are going to be great. And then if you want to add insult to injury, if you've got a partner nearby, they can kind of come over and nudge you on the side of the hip or start to give you some kind of reaction training. So you're trying to hold yourself in that position while other elements are feeding against you. So just some other ideas. What else you got, Hunter?
Well, let's just try what you just said. And I haven't done this in a while.
All right, there should be a disclaimer here. This might have been my idea, but you're doing it. So at your own risk. Drum roll.
Drum roll that I can do it.
Oh, you got this. If you're going 3 feet overhead and 11.6 plank, you can get this.
All right, so actually it's not bad because I got my feet spread wide on the unstable surface behind me. And I've got this, so I'm getting double the balance work here. If I go narrow, it's a little more solid on the cushion.
And now what if you were just to push one hand down, then the other toward the floor, back and forth, so it just wobbles real quick?
So if I come down and when I start my push-up, I push out to the side.
Oh. I can feel my abdominals tearing as I watch.
And you can cross it up.
There's definitely some internal bleeding right now.
Yeah. So when I cross the board up, whee, there you go. I'm wet.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
You could grow rice.
90 degrees right now. 100% humidity. But anyway, that's extreme. There's so many people watching that's way beyond them.
Yeah.
So we're not telling you this is what you can do. If you're one of those super athletes, you can get to this. If not, any part of what I've shown you can be done by itself. So one of my favorites, and I'll use this big cushion and big board because it's easy to see. We're just going to do split squats. And I can add weight, and I can add a rotation.
See, you've just changed the environment, which is wonderful. So now by doing this, again, we can start to use our imagination as to what's the movement going to be? Where are we going to drive our arms? Where is the body going to go? What direction do we want to travel in? And do we want to use any external resistance or assistance to accomplish the movement we're so enjoying?
So I'm getting a nice hip stretch right here.
And now if you were to stay in that lowered position, Hunter, and you were to work on just extending gently into your left knee and then bending back into the left knee, that back leg, just going to extend that knee and then drop into it. Now he's feeding deeper into his hip flexors. Yeah, really opening up. And for those of you that are just tuning in, we will have, this is being recorded and you'll be able to play this back. We'll definitely be sharing it with Hunter's group and my groups here on the West Coast. We'll post it on social media and so on so you can watch for sure. But what we started in the beginning of the hour was in some very basic approaches, basic knowledge of use of the Indo board and all of the accoutrements that come along. And here we've just advanced on and progressed on through the remainder of the hour into some of the more advanced ways of using the tool. All right, what are you doing now, Hunter?
So I've added resistance. Now I've got a weight. And watch this. Ah.
Yeah, you were like Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid right there.
So again, any part of this just trying to show different applications.
Exactly. Now we can also go from a lateral perspective too. So rather than stepping forward toward the board, you can be facing parallel to the board with one foot and stepping off to the side and then coming up. And now we're working on the lateral stabilizers. You can also step across the deck of the board in a rotational fashion and then drive on back up. So now we're dealing with all three dimensions of space while trying to manipulate your body's mass and manage it over an unstable environment. It's a great way of just waking up that nervous system. And tearing your groin at the same time. How was that, Hunter?
Yeah.
I heard the springs. I don't know. Was that your groin tearing?
Yeah. Oh, I need some water. I'm parched.
Okay, grab some water. This is actually a perfect time for anybody listening. I would love to have anybody field questions to myself or Hunter. If you obviously ordering information, this is not an infomercial. This is just two pals that have known each other for 20 years, bantering back and forth. I thought it might be a good idea now that Santa Cruz has beaches and parks closed down and surfing is against ordinances. I won't say against the law, but between Southern California to Santa Cruz, there aren't too many places left to surf right now until the shelter in place gets lifted. But if you want to ask a question, I would love for Hunter or myself to be able to respond to it. So, or even make comments as to how long you've been using the Endo board and what's the purpose for you. Are you enjoying it with a sport that we haven't listed? Like you're a rock climber and it's improved your ability to boulder, whatever the case may be. Dude, you're sweat. Did you just pour a gallon of water over you?
No, I'm up close. I'm telling you. You asked me
People
about my
say, how can
sweat.
you live out in California with all the earthquakes? And then I say, well, then you got Florida, where you've got mosquitoes the size of small birds, hurricanes, and 90-degree temperature with 100-degree humidity. I don't know, buddy. I don't know if you're in your right mind right now. That's all I got to say.
Well, I'm melting a little bit here. But, just looking at everybody saying hello from all over the world. Bath, UK, Leesburg, my trainers up there, Kim and Bob, somebody in Santa Cruz, Miami, Israel, Waveless Socal,
Yeah, SoCal, exactly.
Argentina, New York City, and Italy. So, yeah.
How does it feel to be a global influencer?
Well, it's been 22 years and I've gotten to travel around the world. It was one of my goals when I started the business, was to travel the world. And for me, it's very humbling because when I go to all these different countries, they treat me like I'm some sort of a rock star kind of, and I can't quite fathom that because nobody in the United States gives a shit.
Well, we got people chiming in from Puerto Escondido, and yeah, I'm feeling, yeah, exactly. I saw some surf coming through there. I'm surprised anybody down in Rio, well, they're probably still surfing because they got some massive swell earlier this week. And somebody in Brooklyn, all right, shout out to New York for sure. This is the perfect thing to do to shelter in place, is just get on your board and ride. And anything else, 100, okay, here's the part where I would just love to find out people. I called to the local sporting goods store here in SoCal, which is right near Santa Cruz, said, hey, I'm doing this webinar with Hunter and I've got to tell people where to go locally for Indo boards. He said, we're sold out. So, and it's hard to get them right now. So Play It Again Sports in SoCal, you can get rubber bands and everything. And hopefully you've already got your Indo boards. But Hunter, where are we going to get Indo boards right now?
Indoboard.com. our stock, I mean, it's flying out the door, and we're basically are holding on. Last year was not a profitable year for us. We maintained business. It just didn't turn out to be financially great. So for me, this is a godsend. It's helping us out, and we're holding on tight. We've got good inventory at our website. It's also available on Amazon. I know the distributors, I don't have a lot of product to sell to the distributors that are in turn selling to the stores. So when your shop there says they're out and they can't get any, it's because we just don't have enough to spread out like that. We won't be resupplied from our manufacturer until July.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I've got to maintain my existence here as a business. And since we're selling out the door, if I keep going at this rate, I'm going to be out of inventory about the 1st of June.
So we've got a few comments here. We've got one question. Can you show us the last leg exercises? One person says, I've ordered one online. It was on my doorstep the very next day. And other people are wondering, is there a YouTube channel for Indo Board exercises? So why don't we field that one, and then maybe we can go back to that leg exercise before
Right.
we pass out from exhaustion.
Is there an Indo Board workout channel? So it's not so much a workout channel. It's our YouTube channel, which is quite simply youtube.com/IndoBoard. And on our YouTube channel is literally thousands of videos. And most of them are produced by Indo Board enthusiasts in all aspects of sport and showing different exercises and different workouts. So there's such a wide variety of videos there and posted by personal trainers, physical therapists, and Indo enthusiasts. I mean, we've got this one guy that's, I think he's 13 years old, and I'm having a senior moment, can't remember his name, but he does backflips and does karate. He does everything.
We'll do that next.
Trinity Lewis.
All
Check
right.
out Trinity Lewis. If you Google him and see what he does, he's the next crazy Jackie Chan. But anyway, that's it. YouTube.com/IndoBoard. Lots to see there. And also you can email us, contact@indoboard.com, ask questions. I'm here. I'm not normally this time of year. I'm traveling all over the planet. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm happy to talk to you. You can call us, anything that we can do to help you out.
That's great. Now, for those of you that are interested in getting a recording of this, I'm sure I'm going to send a copy to Hunter, and he can post it on his social media. But in the meantime, we'll have a recording very soon up on our Facebook page, which is Rocky's Fitness Center. And so you can go right there. I'll post it on my personal page, which is Rocky Snyder, if you want to reach out. I have written, we've been talking about center for this past hour in balance. I've actually written a book. It's called Return to Center, which is strength training to realign the body, recover from pain, and achieve optimal performance. And then there's, of course, the Fit to Surf book that features the Indo Board in it. And I think if you do a YouTube search with my name, Rocky Snyder, and Indo Board, I think we have an instructional video that we did some time ago about balance with the Indo Board that you'll probably find there. It's probably about 10 years or more. Now, yesterday, for those of you that have been tuning into the webinars with me, I was with Peggy Hall, and you know Peggy Hall, right, Hunter?
Correct. I worked with her many years ago.
She's with Yoga for Surfers. And so we'll have that webinar soon enough on the page. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be connecting with Tyler Fox. And Tyler Fox is a professional big wave surfer here in Santa Cruz and surfs Mavericks all the time. He's been in the Men Who Ride Mountains, or whatever they call it these days, the Mavericks contest. But he is the founder of Santa Cruz Waves. And he and I are going to kind of go back and forth with different exercises so that we can do some dry land training and some stretching to get ready to go and surf once we're getting out there again. So, Hunter, this has been awesome, man. I am so stoked that we got together and did this webinar. And if anybody wants information, Hunter's email is simple enough, hunter@indoboard.com. And if you want to email me, it's rocky@rockysfitnesscenter.com. And you can always just do a search, rockysnyder.com as well. And Hunter, it's been a pleasure, man. We're right at the top of the hour. And what a great time. We've got to do this again, man.
All right. Well, we got one guy, Abby Wasserstein, wants us to do 10 minutes on Facebook every day.
All right. Well, I don't know about that. Well, we'll try. You know, doing just being on the board for 5 to 10 minutes a day on your own is fantastic. You can build up to an entire hour workout for sure, using all your typical exercises while using the board for sure. But yeah, I love it. I haven't put mine down since the first time we met. So I love you, brother, and we'll get together another time. Thanks, everybody, for watching. This is Rocky and Hunter signing off.
Get into it every day.